Making a move here in the Inland Empire in 2025, whether you're relocating here from another area or maybe you're just relocating from one area within the Inland Empire to another, but it could be one of the smartest decisions you could make. Or it could end up being one of the biggest financial mistakes that you could make with prices, interest rates, inventory. It all does play a role. Here's the thing though, because the biggest mistake isn't necessarily about the market, but rather it's about how you approach everything. And listen, be sure to stick with me because I'm going to cover 5 reasons why it might be a mistake to make a move in 2025. However, I'm also going to cover how you can help yourself avoid those mistakes if moving is on the agenda for you this year. Okay, so let's start here. Let's start with home prices because many of the cities that are here in the Inland Empire, they are still at, or at least near record highs. Especially when we look at some spots, like for instance, Rancho Cucamonga, Corona, Chino Hills, just to name a few. I mean, there are many cities here that the demand has stayed very strong, keeping prices high, thanks to things like, for instance, schools, freeway access, just the overall lifestyle that some of the cities do present. Here's the risk though with that, because if you're not careful, it's very possible to find yourself overpaying for a house that's not worth it in the long term. For example, if you find a home that's priced as if it's been fully remodeled, it's priced as if it's just a beautiful, amazing home, only to find out the kitchen in the home, it's original since 1995. I mean, you might find yourself paying a premium for a home that only is giving you something to have to do later on. The positive side is if you're strategic and you study the micro market, city by city, and in some cases even maybe neighborhood by neighborhood, then yes, even in today's market, you can still find opportunities that will grow over time. If you've been following interest rates this year in 2025, I mean, I'm sure you've already seen they've been bouncing around quite a bit. I mean, it's like one week they do a dip and we get all excited, only to find out next week they're climbing back up again.
You have no idea, they're everywhere.
A swing of just 0.5% in the interest rate, I mean, that could change your monthly payment by as much as hundreds of dollars every month. That could be the difference between qualifying for a home loan to purchase a $600,000 home versus a $550,000 home. Fortunately, there are tools that are available that can help, such as, for instance, if you're able to find a lender that offers a 2-1 buy down, I mean, that can help ease some of that stress a little bit. In case you aren't familiar with what a 2-1 buy down is, this is where you're able to buy down your interest rate for the first 2 years of your home loan. So let's say, for instance, you qualified for a 6.5% interest rate. You're able to reduce your interest rate by 2% in the first year, or in this case, 4.5% now is what you're paying in that first year. In year number 2, you're able to reduce it by 1%. So in this case, it goes up to 5.5%. And then by the time year number 3 rolls around, your interest rate goes back up to the original rate that you qualified for, in this example, 6.5%. Now, important to keep in mind, you do still have to qualify for the going interest rate, whatever that is, but you do still have to qualify for the going interest rate. Just the idea behind it is to help reduce or eliminate some of that financial burden in the first couple of years, with the anticipation that you can refinance to a lower rate later down the road. Of course, there's no way to know for sure when or even if interest rates will come down. My recommendation for you is this. Talk to a lender, get their expert opinion, get their input on both the pros as well as the cons when it comes to the 2-1 buy down program. The point to all that though is just simply this. There are options available for you when it comes to interest rates. Hey, real quick, if this is your first time here, my name's Jose and I am your SoCal Realtor. We help Inland Empire homeowners sell smart, buy better, move with confidence. And if you're thinking about making a move, don't hesitate to reach out. My team and I, we are here and ready to help. Enough about that though. Let's go ahead and get back to the rest of the video. What about inventory though? Because yes, there are more homes available here in the Inland Empire than we had just a couple of years ago. But let's be real. While yes, the inventory is up, but we are still a little below where we were prior to 2020. No need to get into that because I think we all know what started in 2020. But having an inventory that's still a little low, it can create some pressure, especially if we look back. Like for instance, 2021, where we had a very low inventory. We had quite a few buyers as well on the market. I mean, it created a situation where we were seeing buyers, they were just grabbing onto the first house they saw, because if they didn't, they felt like they were going to miss their chance. Yes, there was some truth to that. At that time anyway, there was some truth to that. Just today, however, though, no. I mean, that's an absolute mistake. Yeah, settling for a layout or a floor plan that you aren't necessarily crazy about, or a commute that's like 2 or 3 hours a day, every day, each way, or maybe just a general overall location that really doesn't quite fit your lifestyle. I mean, these are things that there's no reason to settle for, no reason to find yourself regretting later on. Yeah, not when you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to purchase that house. Of course, does that mean that you won't find a home if you're selective of what you want to buy? No, not at all. If you're open to not just exploring resale homes, but also new construction homes, then you absolutely have more options, especially when you factor in some of the incentives that many home builders are offering. Just the bottom line though is this though. You do not need to settle on any old home that you can get your hands on just because the inventory is a little low right now. Quick question for you. Have you been thinking about buying in 2025? If you have, what's your biggest concern right now? Is it home prices? Is it interest rates? Is it the inventory or low inventory, lack thereof? Whatever it is, do me a favor. Drop that in the comments below. I'd love to talk more about that with you. Here's another one. FOMO.
What is FOMO?
Sorry, FOMO is fear of missing out. Listen, the hype, it can get kind of intense sometimes. I mean, maybe you have a neighbor that's down the street and they recently sold their house in just 5 days and they got multiple offers for it. Or maybe you saw a new home builder in the area and you saw their advertisement, final phase pricing. Throw in social media where everyone's posting all their just sold signs and suddenly you're starting to think, we got to do this. It's now or never. That pressure can oftentimes lead to rushed decisions. Here's the reality though, because many times the best opportunities, they aren't the ones that are getting all hyped up. Sometimes it's the home that's been sitting on the market for the past 45 days that turns out to be the best deal, because now you might have a seller that may be a little more flexible. Of course, we cannot wrap up this video without talking about something that's bigger than the market, and this is your financial readiness. The biggest mistake I do see some people make is focusing too much on market timing instead of personal timing.
I don't follow.
The truth is, the best time to move really has less to do with the market and more to do with when you're ready. Financially, logistically, as well as emotionally. Here's a quick checklist of questions I would ask yourself. Do I have stable income right now? Do I have savings for a down payment and closing costs? Do I have an emergency fund for any possible surprises that could pop up after the move? Am I clear on what my next step is, whether that's upsizing, downsizing, or relocating? Now, not everyone has this checklist filled out perfectly, and that's okay. Just, I will say this though, the closer you are to having it filled out perfectly, the smoother your next move will be. Real quick, I got a quick favor to ask of you. If you know someone that might be thinking about buying or selling a home this year, anywhere here in the Inland Empire, do me a favor if you would and share this video with them. Too many people do not realize these mistakes until it's too late. My hopes is that this video can help them avoid some of that stress. Let me add one more thing though here, and that is partner with a local agent, someone that knows the local market. Of course, if you're looking here in the Inland Empire, hopefully you're considering me. Seriously though, each market can be a little different from another, so having local guidance, it can make a big difference. Of course, if you do have any questions or if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, my contact information is below. Feel free to reach out. Otherwise, until then, we'll catch you on the next one.